Hello and welcome back to the 42nd episode, a very special Christmas episode of Good, Bad, or Bad Bad, the show where we watch terrible movies and tell you if you should too. I'm your host, Mr. Brian Shilligo. Kyle is hiding behind the stocking for some reason. I don't know why he's scared of you now, but he is. So, joined as always by my co-host, my other host, Mr. Kyle Hinton. Today, we're talking about the 2006, I think, masterpiece of Christmas filmmaking that is Deck the Halls.
On your mark, get set. Whoa!
They're acting like a bunch of 12-year-olds. I mean, let's just, I can't.
That was a little harmony.
Yeah, it was. That was nice. We didn't even plan that. It just happened. Good. We're just that good, guys. All right. So Deck the Halls. I don't know why we watched this movie, but it's a real piece of shit.
Yep.
This is one of those. It's one of those it's a cash-in holiday movie. We got to get something out for Christmas.
Like a Hallmark film that wasn't a Hallmark
kind
film.
of. You know what it really is? It was in that exact. And it's in the right time frame of when like all comedies were like Meet the Parents, basically.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they were all that same style of like super over the top, ridiculous. Like nobody acts this way.
I had no idea you could milk a cat.
Oh yeah, you can milk anything with nipples.
I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me?
Like what are these characters? Nobody behaves this way.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is like illegal. Like everything they do is illegal.
Yeah.
Like
It feels like the wackiest possible version of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
yeah. Well, yeah. That's the thing that's worst about it. Is like the whole and it's a comedy. You got to give it a little bit of leeway. But it's like nobody would behave. No, humans don't behave this way.
Yeah, how do you like that? Yeah, sleep through that, buddy. Huh? Huh? Woo! Yeah!
Which I get it. You're elevating
If you
for
were to
comedic
behave
effect.
this way, you would be in jail.
Yes. No humans behave this way. So it's your basic, your standard new neighbors move in. We don't know them.
Ooh, it looks like we have new neighbors.
Who moves in the middle of the night? A meth lab?
But Christmas is our main character's favorite time of year, and they do Christmas right. And the new neighbors come in, and they start doing Christmas, and then it's a Christmas off.
What do you think of the tree for Winterfest? Well, actually, Steve, I was talking to Buddy here. I mean, after all, he is the expert.
Usually a good sign when you see 3 people wrote a movie. That's usually
boy.
when the credits pop up and it's 3.
Boy.
Which that's what it was. It was 3 people sat in a room and go, we got to get this written by tomorrow afternoon at 3. Let's go.
Yeah, I sold my treatment 2 months ago, and they're expecting a script Friday.
Yeah.
So we got to get going.
And how much have you written? Well, I wrote Deck the Halls. That's it. All right, let's do it. It's got a pretty good cast, or like an interesting cast, at least, if nothing else. It's Matthew Broderick's the main character. His wife is what's her name from Sex and the City. I can never remember that actress's name. And then the other 2 couple is Danny DeVito and Kristen Chenoweth. So there's that. And then there's also some little cameos here and there of interesting people. Oh, and his daughter is Aaliyah Shawkat or whatever from Arrested Development and other things.
By the way,
Okay, we are just about ass to ankles back here, maybe. Do you want to hop on your cousin's lap there, please?
Whoa, bumpy road ahead.
Danny DeVito. Like they're like, you see them together on screen. You're just, every single time that she had to kiss him, I was like,
Yeah.
oh no.
He is out kicking his coverage.
Like there's a point where they're like doing a song at the end where Danny DeVito's going in for the kiss, and she's like, I'm holding off on this as long as I can.
I'll get my job back.
Danny DeVito's lovely. How dare you? So the new neighbors move in, but we get introduced to our main character first, and everybody in town loves him. And he's like the optometrist, and he loves Christmas, and it's like their favorite time of year.
Oh, it looks good. Yeah, don't go overboard with the lights, though. We don't want to seem tacky.
Oh, whatever you say, Steve. Winterfest is your baby.
and they have like a calendar of countdown events to the big day.
He's a very it's an interesting Thomas thing because he has his own private shop in this small town.
Yeah,
which you don't like unless this is like the 1800s and you're out in the old west. That doesn't happen.
Oh,
you don't have.
Maybe.
From my understanding, like every single one I've ever seen is in like some private practice doctor's complex.
Yeah, I don't know.
You see a guy
I'll go to the eye doctor.
You go to your eye doctor with a storefront window, and you're just what?
Some of them are like that. There's the one down here that we have one. It's like it's a chain, but it's like Lens Crafters. They're their own store. They have an optometrist.
Yeah, but are they like a storefront window at
I don't know, maybe.
Main Street?
I don't ever go to them because I have perfect eyes. That's not true. I need glasses. I need glasses. You guys, at some point in the future, you're gonna see I'm gonna have glasses all of a sudden. It's gonna be great.
-6 in both eyes, and I'm looking through Coke bottles at this point.
No, they're sexy. So I like how one of the things he whips out this big calendar, like an advent calendar basically type thing that they hang on the wall and they spin the little doors. And he goes, on December 3rd, we hang the wreath.
December 3rd, we hang the wreath.
And they had no Christmas decorations up at this point. I'm like, do they put them up day by day? Like on scheduled days?
Well, as you may have noticed, no.
Well, no. Wait, what?
They don't even have Christmas decorations.
What was it?
up.
They don't put up lights or anything. And I'm like, wait, what? At least I don't. Yeah, eventually they have a few maybe that just kind of show up. But I was like, he goes, on the 3rd, we put up the wreath. And I'm like, who does that? He's like, and then on the 4th, we put up 1 string of lights. And then on the 5th, we'll put up half of the Christmas tree. It's like, nobody decorate. You just do it all at once and get it out of the way. And for somebody who loves Christmas so much, they wait pretty far into the season to put up their Christmas stuff. Like most people who really love Christmas, it's like Thanksgiving, it's up.
He doesn't just love Christmas. He's the Christmas guy.
Yeah, he's the guy.
I'm the Christmas guy.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of my thing.
He's in town. He is the Christmas guy, even though he's a giant asshole.
You should take it here in the sled. That's a great idea.
Take it in the sled. That's a horrible idea. How's it feel to be invisible? Huh?
I guess that means we don't have to go to the mall together.
Isn't that great?
And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man on the moon.
Yes.
And I don't know why anybody likes him.
He's even a dick to his customers.
He's a dick to everybody.
But his patients.
Yes.
It's like, I don't need glasses. You need binoculars.
Yes.
We're settling for glasses.
Need glasses.
You need binoculars. We're settling for glasses.
It's like I get that his character arc is he's learning to to be more friendly. He's like but it's weird because they play it both ways where like he has to learn to like be friendly again, but also he's supposed to be everybody loves them. So it's like this weird, like, he's not like the Scrooge character, but he kind of is, while also being like the most...
His is, he sticks everything to such a strict schedule that he has to break away from that.
Schedule and tradition, and he has to break out of his...
And if anything happens with that, all hell breaks loose.
Yes.
We always take our picture in front of the fireplace. It's a tradition.
But wouldn't it be nice to try something new this year, honey?
No, I don't think so.
So we introduced this idea that his wife... that Matthew Broderick's wife writes cookbooks, but that she doesn't write cookbooks. She says, I don't write them. Are you going to finish your sip so I can finish my fucking point? It's very distracting. This is the episode where they fight. And no, she goes, I don't write cookbooks. She goes, I take other people's recipes and then I change them and then put them together into a cookbook.
You always say that I write cookbooks, but I don't. I just edit other people's recipes and then I compile them into cookbooks that nobody buys.
And I'm like,
you write cookbooks.
Yeah, that's what do you think people that make cookbooks do? Not every person who writes a cookbook completely reinvents the art of cuisine every time. You took a recipe, you changed it and altered it in ways that you thought was good.
It's the raw quail eggs, isn't it? It's the texture, right? The grainy, slimy, milky. Can you taste the curry?
Yeah.
And then that's what people, that's how you cook.
If your whole thing was making recipes, you would be a chef.
Yeah. And I'm like there's no new, yes, you can come up with new spins on things, but that's what she said she was doing. You're not reinventing all of culinary The world of culinary, what? That's not how cookbook. Okay,
Yeah, so
sure.
just add a teaspoon of sea salt to everything, and that'll be enough.
Today's secret ingredient is...
And we're back. All right, there we go. Yeah, you write cookbooks. That's what. They made me so mad. I was like, what are you talking about? I don't understand.
Yeah.
So they, DeVito and them move in the middle of the night. DeVito and his wife, Kristen Chenoweth, and their 2 girls, who we'll talk about later, move in the middle of the night. And they come over to say hi the next morning. And they walk out.
Well, he's stealing his paper.
He's
trying to steal his paper.
Yeah.
And he introduces himself.
Yeah.
Whoa, big guy. Whoa, take it easy. Oh, he's spazzing out on me. Look, he's having a seizure.
And this is just a meeting of the husbands and wives.
Yeah, husband and wife. Yeah. And Broderick's standing there in a gown, in like a shirt and boxer shorts or whatever. And all of a sudden, his wife is like, or Kristen Chenoweth is like, I can see your dick.
Looks like we got a visitor.
Whoa!
And I'm like, no, you can't. What? And he's like, oh, and she goes, oh, don't put it away on my account. And I'm like, what?
Don't put the little guy away on my account.
Wait, he's wearing did he get a boner? Did he like pop a boner while they were having a chat? That's a very strange, because then he covers himself up. But I'm like, I looked back and I'm like, he's just wearing shorts. You can't see his dick, like, unless did it sneak out the flap? Did it what happened there?
Looks like we got a visitor.
Did Matthew Broderick have a boner? That's what I want to know. Ever. Has Matthew Broderick ever had a boner? Other than when he killed those. Oh, then we find out that Danny DeVito he's got a new job at a car because he's a salesman.
Just to show you kind of what his character is. And
yeah.
He's he's presented as a very charismatic guy who kind of, I want to say he's a con man, but he easily can manipulate people.
Yeah, he's like a great salesman.
Because he walks away with Matthew Broderick's paper and his coffee.
Yeah.
You too. You have kids, right?
We do.
Well.
Yeah. They they paint him as like a smooth talker, but he wants something more in life. He doesn't want to just be a he doesn't want to just be like, he's gifted with this ability to sell anything to anybody or, kind of talk his way into any situation or whatever. But he wants something more than that.
It's all the same. I don't know. I was just hoping that, one day I'd do something big. Something important.
Which is kind of what they set up for this whole premise of what happens. So he's a salesman. We see him at the car dealership, and this great scene, he sells a car to the owner of the dealership in like 3 words.
I'm telling you, boys, from this day forward, we own that guy.
There we go. The brush off.
That's
the brush off. Okay, here.
And he paid sticker price.
Yeah, he goes, and I paid sticker price. I'm like,
I just bought one of my own cars. And the worst part is, I paid sticker.
And once again, that actor who
what is he from?
He's in everything.
Oh my god, I knew that guy.
And I thought for a second that was the dude from Office Space, the O face dude.
Oh, it's not that guy.
No, it's not though.
Things go well, I might be showing her my O face. Oh.
I was like, oh god, it looks like him with black hair.
We have to call the police.
No way. I ain't going to jail. It's okay. I'm fine.
We'll get rid of the...
So this is where he sells the car, but he doesn't like selling things. He wants something bigger. And then we laid that night. His daughters. At one point we made his daughters, who has twin 26-year-old daughters. Even they're supposed to be 16 or 17.
Who are supermodel height.
Yeah, they're 6 foot, both 6 foot tall and gorgeous. And what's the little boy's got a boner every time he sees him.
Oh.
He's like, oh my god, can I live here?
And this is Carter.
Hi. Can I live here?
So his kids at night are on Google Earth.
What do you got going here?
It's My Earth.
My Earth?
You type in an address, and you can see every house in the country from space.
Basically.
It's
basically good. When I saw that, I was like, you can see anything live. And I'm like, well, probably not, because that's not how satellites work.
Usually from about 6 months or a year ago.
Yeah.
But
You can see every house from space?
Yeah.
So I was like, that the whole premise of this movie is bullshit. And now you obviously that's the conceit they had to make the plot of the movie work. Yeah. But so they go, look, you can see anywhere on Earth from space, from the satellites. And he goes, oh, cool. Can you see our house? And they pull it up. And for some reason, they're like, no, you can't see our house.
But you can see the neighbor's house.
But you can see the neighbor's house.
Where's our house?
Oh, you can't see our house, but you can see the neighbors.
My figures were invisible.
It's weird because they have the same size house.
It's like a little bigger. The neighbor's house is, Matthew Broderick's house is a little bigger. Not like they're not in Matthew Broderick doesn't live in a mansion and these people are in like a hut. It is like a little bigger. But that's not the thing that's hilarious to go, you can't see your house. You clearly could see, like, you can see a screenshot and it's like, if you can see any of the houses, you could see their house. Like, but so his idea is, well, you know, if there was lights on it, you can see it from space.
But they don't even have lights on there.
No, it's just bigger, a little bit. None of this makes any sense. Because yes, one, that's not how satellites work. Or, I mean, it is, but it's not, you don't see a live update all the time. That's not how that works. Mm-hmm. Two, which I guess they kind of address later because in order for them to see it later, they have like a special, Cal Penn is there and he's like fucking monitoring the situation live or whatever.
Now the folks at My Earth have been monitoring the situation live.
So, but yeah, so I guess they do know it's not live. I don't know. Two, the lights thing, that doesn't do it. Nope. You just can see the house because that's, yeah. So anyways, none of the whole conceit of the thing is that he wants to put all these lights on his house so that the house can be seen from space. And that'll mean he really achieved something.
See it from space. I'll light it up.
You know, something other than just being a salesman.
Look, if you have your expectations incredibly low, they're very easy to achieve.
Yeah. If I just throw a bunch of lights on this house, woof, we can see it from space.
That's why I have no expectations. I always meet them.
Yep. So he starts putting up lights that night. And I swear to God, like, the sound effect, because he wakes up Broderick, it's a nail gun sound effect.
Yes.
And he's holding a hammer.
Oh, man.
And is that supposed to be a joke? Or did the guys in the sound mix were just like, fuck it, just...
Got like a RoboCop arm.
Yeah, he's just got a hammer, but it's very clearly like that nail gun. And apparently he's nail gunning lights to his house.
Just destroying his property value while he's at it. Kyle Hinton, real estate expert.
Yeah. So he puts all these lights on his house, and Matthew Broderick comes out and goes, it's too bright.
Oh, is that what's bothering you? The lights?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I'll turn them off.
Thank you.
And I'm like, it's like a very reasonable amount of lights at this point. It's like how most people would put light, like, you know, if you did a pretty nice job of putting lights on your house. And he's like, you got to turn these off. It's too bright. And I'm like, I thought you liked Christmas. You don't like, this guy has very sensible Christmas decorations on his house, and you're like, fuck off.
I'm like your barren, two-story mansion
house. Yeah. So he puts all these lights on. He goes back inside, and he's like, can you see it now?
Still can't see it.
You're gonna miss it.
Sorry, Daddy.
What do you mean you can't see it? It's impossible. I put so many more lights on.
And they're like, and I love that none of this makes any sense, and it's so stupid that they can't even show the computer to show that we can't see the house. It's just them looking at the computer screen and going, nope, we can't see it. And he goes and looks at it and goes, you know, like, I guess we'll need more lights. But they can't show us the computer screen to see that we can't see it, because you could, if they were actually looking at a satellite picture, you would be able to see the house.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be able, like, it wouldn't make any sense.
You'll get it.
Oh, so then this is when the big sledding incident happens. It's the Christmas. So he goes and he buys a bunch more lights, and he also gets...
He doesn't just buy a bunch more lights.
No,
he buys
all of the lights.
All the lights.
All of the lights.
Oh, hi. Can you order me more of these?
It's fuck everybody else in town. They don't get lights on their house. And And so, but he also, the guy just got in like this giant sled, like a legit like Santa sleigh.
Like, it looks like an antique.
Yeah, it's got like the metal runners and everything. Like, it is a legit sled. And so he takes it home and he gets horses.
Didn't just get horses, no. He finds
them on the outskirts of town.
Also, we should keep our voices down a little bit because I found these horses on the outskirts of town, and between you and me, they look a little skitty.
And they are shoed.
That is, Danny DeVito is like the best. Yeah, they are. Danny DeVito is like the best part of this movie, just because Danny DeVito is always kind of funny and everything
he's
he
wacky.
does.
He's a wacky guy.
And Kristen Chenoweth is pretty good too. Matthew Broderick, and he's terrible.
Let's light this candle.
And so, so his sons, they're like, let's take the picture. And this is where it starts to, and I get that the idea is that like, oh, he doesn't want the competition of the new guy in town, you know, upping him on Mr. Christmas. But they're like, hey, we should take, and his tradition thing. They're like, hey, we should take our Christmas picture in the sled.
You're talking about your Christmas picture? You should take it here in the sled.
Oh,
That's a great idea.
Take it in the sled. That's a horrible idea.
That'll be great. And he's like, no, fuck that. And I'm like, you're such a, like, even if you didn't want, you could take a picture in it and then still go take your, yeah, you could do both of them. But it's got his character, he's such a stickler for tradition that they can't ever do anything new. And like, why does anybody like you? I don't understand why anybody in this town likes you.
That's a horrible idea.
He gets in there to kind of I guess,
to get the kid out, get his kid off, yeah.
And they take off.
Boom, gone. And then we get a nice little action sequence of him getting drugged through town.
If you ever want to see a sleigh drift in the streets, this is it.
That's not
good. You put in some sweet who's the
Fast and Furious
music? But who did the song from? I was thinking of Need for Speed Underground. Do you remember that game? What's the song in the? From the window to the wall. I think that's the one in the first Need for Speed Underground. Fast and Furious. What's the name of this town?
Cloverdale.
Cloverdale Drift. So he's slamming into cars and shit, and then eventually flies over a little kid who's like, Santa, woohoo! And his dad is oblivious to the sleigh flying over the top
of his car. We almost died. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, you could have. I didn't want to. Okay. We can take turns. We can go back and forth, Kyle. In the season of giving.
I'm sorry, is this annoying?
Yeah, I need you to stop.
Okay.
So eventually he ends up on a lake and then stops sliding finally and then just falls immediately through. And I was like, the movie should just end there. He freezes to death and drowns, which he would have because there's nobody. There's one fisherman sitting on the ice, like, you know, on the other side of the lake. Nobody's getting, he's freezing and sinking and dying. Like they're not getting him out of that lake. Maybe that's what happened. And the rest of the movie is like a Jacob's Ladder scenario where he's just like, that's what I'm talking about. Anyway, so maybe he did die there. But anyway, so they
well, he's coming to in the van to the hospital.
Yeah.
And he is stripped down and getting warmed up by Danny DeVito in what feels like it is absolutely pulled out of an Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode.
Yeah, with Danny DeVito's character, yeah.
Where are your clothes?
I had to get your body temperature up, so I stripped us both down and zipped us into this sleeping bag. Trust me, it works.
So he's fine that he lives, I guess, or he doesn't. Jacob's Ladder, one of the two. And I don't remember what happens next, but at one point he gets home and he's talking to his son, and I just love. It's like he's the worst person because his son's like, "Hey, I was hoping can we go to the mall and get a present for Mom and like hang out?"
Maybe you could take me Christmas shopping for Mom. We could go to the mall
and wander around? Oh, and we can get hot chocolate?
And, and you can love me and stuff. And he's like, yeah, no.
You know what? Already taken care of. You're getting her a really nice sweater that I ordered from a catalog.
Oh. I guess that means we don't have to go to the mall together.
Isn't that great?
No.
He goes, I ordered her.
I wanted to put some thought into Mom's gift. Well, guess what? Fuck you.
I ordered her something for you. And it's like, what? I get the character arc, but like, why did anybody like this guy? He's the worst. No. So they go to get to cut down the tree now the next day or something like that.
He has a series of trees that he's been growing for years.
15 years. They have their own plot at the tree farm that is like sectioned off just for them because they're those assholes. Mm-hmm. Apparently optometrists make real good money. Who knew? Especially in small town optometrists. So do optometrists have to get a medical degree? I don't think so. I feel like they just like let anybody do it.
Blind medical expert.
I'm just wondering, like, I was thinking about it, I was like, I'm pretty sure all they do is like use a machine to see if your eyes are fucked. I don't think they need any medical training.
This coming from a guy who does not see an optometrist like ever. When's the last time you went to see one?
Oh God, a long time ago. They did that thing. Have you ever? I hated it. I
blew some air to your eye.
There's that, but no, they used a thing like a rubber thing to push on my eyeball to like test the like resistance.
That's making my eyes water.
Yeah. But they put an eye drop in, and then it's like to test like how firm your eye is to make sure your eye is like firm the proper. I don't know what they do if it's not firm enough, but it was very strange. But that was like 10 or 15 years ago. So DeVito and them are also there. They're going to get their own tree somewhere else, and as he's walking away, he accidentally knocks over a can of gasoline. And then somehow in the snow,
hilarity ensues.
Yes, hilarity ensues. In the snow, this gasoline manages to run all the way among all the trees.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a very small can of gas, and it like a fucking river of it comes out to engulf all these trees. Also, nobody smells it except for Sex and the City, Broderick's wife.
Does anyone smell gas?
And I'm like, if he was standing in the middle of all of that gasoline, it would be very apparent. Like, you would know. But anyways, he's like, fuck it. Makes a sweet joke about farting, and then
he's in a competition with Danny DeVito so he can get a tree down.
Right, yeah, that's right.
And then he was gonna let his son chop down the tree, and just
he's the worst asshole.
He's a
horrible father.
Give him the axe, Carter. No way he beats us.
Honey, you said he could cut it down.
Well, he can do it next year. Come on, give me the axe.
And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon.
He says, give me that axe, we're gonna beat him.
Yeah.
But Dad, I was wanting to screw your childhood memories. Whatever childhood memories you're gonna have of having a good childhood, guess what?
Yeah.
Not happening.
Nah, fuck you. And so he goes to chop it down, and then hits like a
piece of rebar
metal or something, and then sparks, and then boom, all the trees go up in flames. Hilarious. And then so they end up, of course, because there were no other Christmas trees in town.
They get the Charlie Brown.
They get a Charlie Brown Christmas tree because, again, this isn't reality where, there are other trees. Oh, and then Hurley shows up.
Excuse me. Wallace Fiskin. Oh, Buddy Hall, sir. Meeting you is one of the great moments of my life.
Yes.
I don't know. I was like, fucking Hurley is in this movie.
What's the actor's name?
I couldn't. Yeah, something. Yeah, I couldn't tell you for the life of me. He's Hurley.
We're sorry, we don't know you, man.
You're Hurley.
We can do a continuation of Law. Somehow he survived the plane crash.
Yeah.
And then
he got back from the island.
Yeah, and then he opened up his own.
What does he do?
He owns like part of a fried chicken restaurant chain or something like that.
Oh, well, that was in. That's what happens in the show. But no, in
Good Cop, Bad Cop.
Yeah, Good Cop, Bad Cop. There's the guy at the strip club.
That's a throwback.
Second episode, I think. Here's the tagline. It takes one to know one. Two worlds, one. Okay, there's two taglines. I'm not sure which ones. Good Cop, Bad Cop. It takes one to know one. Two worlds, one border, no boundaries. So that's exciting. Third,
Yeah,
second. And there's a guy in Good Cop, Bad Cop, which a lot of you probably haven't seen because you've watched us not since when we first started 3 years ago or whatever. There's a guy who eats a bucket of chicken and he looks just like Hurley. We were like, is that Hurley? And I was like, and then I saw, he's like, holy shit, that's Hurley. And he's eating fried chicken just like his character does, but it's not actually Hurley. The guy it's not actually
just
the
like
guy
a
that plays
400-pound dude.
Yeah, with like curly, blonde, long, dark hair, and he's sitting there eating a bucket of chicken.
Yeah.
Which, if you watch Lost, Hurley eats a shit ton of chicken and then eventually buys a chicken restaurant because he loves it so much. I believe I haven't seen it forever. And so he talks about Hurley tells him, or is talking about how there's always the annual speed skating competition.
Yeah, races? What kind of races?
Speed skating.
Speed skating.
Speed skating. We do it right here.
Because that's a thing towns do. They have speed skating competitions in the town square. All right. And then I don't remember what else happens in this movie for the rest of it. No, I do. So he puts up even more lights at this point. I think this is once he starts soldering giant switchboards
and keep in mind they are in massive debt. That is something that's brought up.
You're going to pay off our monumental debt.
So they're in massive debts, but he's spending thousands of dollars on lights and sound systems and everything.
And apparently he's a genius programmer because he just programs his own shit.
Yeah, he's, like I said, he just solders everything. He programs everything. I'm like, they should have set that up if they wanted to.
He knows how to program his own stuff, but he doesn't know how to use Google Earth.
You know, run a sequencer on the lights.
Buddy.
Synchronize it to the music.
Are you
Get that satellite image up that you had before.
Yeah, he's like, what's this Google Earth you got going here? I'm gonna make the world's most impressive light show later in this movie. Because it's legitimately incredibly impressive. This is so after the first one, he starts up and he gets a big light show going. A bunch of people show up and there's music and it's synced together. And our guys all like, this is the worst, and it would be the worst because the music blares at all hours of the day, which is not allowed. And there's like hundreds of people just in the street.
4 a.m. every night.
Yeah.
This show is going to be repeated every night on a loop until 4 a.m.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. Later, he goes till 4 a.m. every night, and it's like, nope, that wouldn't be allowed. So ultimately, he decides he's going. Well, this is at one point, him and his wife are sitting out in the sleigh. DeVito and Kristen Chenoweth are. And the movie decided halfway through the movie to acknowledge how stupid the premise of their movie is. They literally say to each other,
I guess the light thing is pretty stupid, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
This is really stupid, isn't it? And he goes, seeing our house from space, that's kind of stupid idea. And she goes, yeah, it's stupid.
Yep.
Like, at least they're admitting it. At least the movie, they got
question is, do you think that was a writer's choice or halfway through it where they realized they were screwed on the script? Or was that an actor's choice where they read it and they're like, what the?
Yeah. And it's just DeVito. They're not even in character. It's just DeVito and Chenoweth sitting in the sleigh, and they happen to have a camera rolling on them, and they're like, this is senior. What are we doing? What is...
Cut. Perfect.
That's brilliant.
Oh, shit.
Yep. No, that was exactly. Yep.
I guess the light thing is pretty stupid, isn't it?
So then one of the nights, Matthew Broderick decides he's going to go Mission Impossible.
Let's light this candle.
What are you doing?
The number of skin-tight suits that we see Matthew Broderick in this
Too
movie.
many.
Yes.
I've seen more of Broderick's physique than I ever cared to.
Oh, very nice suit.
What I'm saying is that I don't want to see old Matthew Broderick's curves at all anymore. I'm not a big fan.
Moving on.
So he goes over in his made up Mission Impossible outfit, but he gets his son to come along because his son so desperately wants to be loved by him.
Dad, I want some attention of some.
He'll do illegal things with him.
Yes.
gonna cut his power, aren't you? You the lookout?
Just so he has some form of attention from his father.
So he's the lookout, and he climbed a telephone pole.
He's sitting next to a transformer. Like, he is, like, right next to it.
Thanks for being responsible, Dad.
I know. I'm like, you're the worst father in the history of the world. And they kind of acknowledge it in this scene. But anyways, so he's a lookout for him, and they're on a walkie-talkie, and he's sneaking in. It's a hilarious gag where he's hiding up and down behind a Santa that's going in and out of a... Because you couldn't just crouch. You would have to go up and down with it.
And then he dives into a live manger scene.
Yes.
Where they have a camel that just shits and spits and throws up everywhere.
Yeah, and it spits banana pudding all over his face.
No, get away from me.
And then so eventually he gets to the breaker box and he throws a snowball into it.
Yep.
And because the wiring does not look up to code. No. I don't know a lot about but it does not look up to code. They like burn the whole neighborhood down. But so it fries it and all the lights go out. And then, but Danny DeVito's one step ahead of your motherfucking ass.
It's a giant generator.
A giant generator.
What's that noise?
Oh, that's the Generac 3000 liquid-cooled generator.
That fires up. It's a liquid-cooled generator. He says.
Yes.
I don't know what that means.
Which,
if that makes
you know,
sense.
sure, you need that in winter in the Northeast.
yeah. It's like it needs to be liquid-cooled. It's out. It's in 0-degree temperatures, but yeah. So yeah, so then, so the lights are still, you know, it's all good. But Danny DeVito figures out that he did it because he finds the snow in the breaker box or whatever, and sticks his hand into all those wires. I'm like, don't do that. The next day, Matthew Broderick goes to work, and he sees that where the tree normally is no tree. It's gone. It's been sawed off. My favorite thing about this scene is there are 4 city workers just standing around it in a circle, staring at it, going,
What are we supposed to do?
And they're like pointing at it like, somebody cut it down. What? And they're just like, what are you guys doing?
They took a chainsaw to it.
Yeah. So somebody cut it down, and Matthew Broderick has a sneaking suspicion of who it might have been.
Because Buddy
gave him a Christmas tree. Said, "Oh, look here, I got a Christmas tree for you."
I don't know why he wouldn't have noticed it immediately, because it has the Marilyn Monroe angel on top of it, which we saw earlier in the film.
Yeah, I guess maybe Matthew Broderick didn't see it earlier. I don't know.
And he has a car with a bow on it, which is the universal symbol for "Here is your gift."
Yeah.
So he gets into his office and gets a letter from the dealership saying, "Pay it by noon."
Pay it by noon. Yeah.
Dr. Finch, this came for you from the car dealer.
Oh, probably the documentation.
They say you have to pay for the car by lunchtime or you're going to be arrested.
Or you'll be arrested.
Oh, you'll be arrested. I'm like, I don't think that's how that works.
What?
But
what?
Yeah, Danny DeVito gave him a car and said it's a gift. Turns out he forged his signature.
You signed the contract.
I didn't sign anything.
No, that's true. You didn't sign anything. I had to forge your signature.
And made him buy the car. And I'm like, no. But so Matthew Broderick goes to confront him at the dealership about this and says, yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go get my lawyer.
That's it. We are going to settle this like men. Who? I'm going to contact my attorney.
Because you fucking forged my signature and made me buy a car.
Not going to lie. That is the most legal thing he's probably done this whole movie.
It is the only thing that makes sense in this entire movie, but it is followed up by immediately DeVito being like,
"Oh, you're gonna contact your attorney. Is that the way you settle things like men? What's the matter, your mommy out of town?"
And Broderick taking the bait like the grown man-child that he is, because the right answer is, no, fuck you. I'm gonna go get my lawyer, and you're gonna be in prison for fucking forging my signature and buying a car with my name. That's called fucking fraud, dude. You cannot do that.
Well, for the record, this is where they're starting to rack up the illegal activities.
Yes. Oh my god.
Because I mean, Broderick, you know, he illegally accessed the panel.
Yeah. The electricity box
and sabotaged it.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito has forged his signature. You know, committed fraud.
Yeah.
You didn't sign anything. I had to forge your signature.
And destroyed city property.
City property, yeah. Yes. And his son, I'm sure children are not allowed to climb telephone poles and just hang out next to transformers. That's probably some sort of like endangerment of a child or something like that. On top of like whatever it would be just for anybody going up a telephone pole, they're not allowed to go up. And then, but yeah, so it starts adding up. So instead of settling it like adults, because otherwise we wouldn't have a comedy, is they decide instead of getting lawyers involved, they're going to race over it.
Speed skating.
There is an ice skating race.
Yeah. Yeah, great idea.
And I'm like, Danny DeVito,
no,
look at you.
No.
You're not going to win that race. But the stakes are, if I win, if Broderick wins, he's got to take the car back. Or no, something.
No, he's got to buy the car.
No, well, if DeVito wins...
If DeVito wins, he's got to buy the car.
Broderick's got to buy the car.
If
Broderick wins... I don't remember.
He takes down the lights.
You win, I buy the car. I win, you take down the lights.
Yeah, that's it. You take down the lights.
He still has to buy.
I don't know. I'm like, those aren't. You didn't. I was like, wait a second.
Those don't equate.
Your terms here are very muddy. Like, I don't understand what happens.
We do need to specify that the reason he needs a new car is because his Volvo got destroyed.
Well, he destroyed it because he can't drive and is an idiot.
Oh, God! Oh, boy.
So yeah, so they decide they're gonna race to settle this dispute. And so they're at the little Christmas whatever, Winterfest or whatever it's called the next day, and they're playing like the games, and he hits the old lady in the face. That's great. And I love, best line in the movie is his son, he's raising a little miscreant here because his son, after he hits that lady square in the face and like knocks her out cold, his son's like, he just winged her.
That mean man knocked down the old lady. He just winged her.
Nope, that snowball hit her right in the face. Oh, and then the worst scene in the entire film. The Christmas dancing, the Santa girl scene. It's the grossest thing.
Okay.
So, who thought this was a good idea?
So, the wives get them together to kind of make nice.
Yes.
And they're like, well, we're men, so we're gonna
be pigs.
Yeah, we're gonna... Is it oogle or ogle?
Whatever. And heck, like verbally abuse these women on stage. Like, yeah, who's your daddy? From the crowd, these girls that are dancing with their backs to the audience.
Something we could agree on.
Currently,
yes,
wearing like the little Santa dresses, like Santa dancer things, and it's very obvious to everybody who's watching the movie what is about to happen here.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah. Well, you're a guy, right? Yeah. Come on. Hey, is it getting hot out here? Or is it just you girls? Oh, nice dip.
But I'm like, and then so it turns because he's yelling, and the joke of the whole scene is he's yelling, "Who's your daddy?"
Ow! Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Woo! Hey, baby, who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
And they turn around. Oh, God, I'm your daddy.
I'm your daddy.
Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? Oh, God, I'm your daddy.
And
it's
so,
the grossest thing ever.
And what I thought was the funniest immediate scene following that, they are rubbing holy water in their eyes to try to cure.
They're in church. I love the premise of the scene, though, is that it would have been fine had it not been their daughters. It would have been fine for two grown men to stand in a crowd full of families and be like, "Oh yeah, girl, get it!" Like it's the weirdest, most, and I'm like, this is their body.
That may have been more acceptable for the drunk guy the night before.
Yeah. It's like they're at a family gathering in the middle of the day.
Not only is that Matthew Broderick a very well respected member of this community.
Yeah. And I love that they're just all of a sudden decide, yeah, you're right, we're dudes. Let's just yell gross shit at these, even if they're not their daughters, they're supposed to be young, like teenage girls dance. Fucking most ridiculous. Oh my God. I was like, what is happening?
Ow. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Woo. Hey, baby, who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
Oh, that fucking scene.
I'm your daddy. Ah,
my eye.
Oh, God.
My eye.
Okay, it's the skating scene.
Oh, it's the skating scene. Okay. This is the race.
So it's the it's Danny DeVito in his Detroit Red Wings jersey are two German
Fred Armisen and I can never that other woman, I can't remember her name.
Yeah,
the German
it's
couple.
The German couple. The mayor who's in like who has like ski
poles.
Yes. And then they're waiting for Matthew Broderick to show up. He shows up in a full body suit, a full body speed suit, and it is uncomfortable.
It is even tighter than this vest fits me right now. That thing is hugging that Broderick bod.
Because the only thing that's going through my head is stupid sexy Flanders.
yeah, it's like orange. It is. Yeah. Oh, should have called him Matthew Broderick. I'm gonna cut that out. So they race, and then at some point,
well, the mayor is like nearly killed immediately.
He falls over and knocks over Matthew Broderick as soon as the race starts, and so Matthew Broderick has to come back in, but he raced in college, so he knows what he's doing. Although apparently he doesn't know that you can't just jump over and go the wrong way. Apparently that's still fine. Because at one point he has to like avoid the mayor again, not kill him, and he jumps over the thing and goes the wrong way around the track for half of it. Now the shape of the track, I guess he still went the same distance basically, but that, I feel like he would still be disqualified if you did half of one lap backwards around the track, and then he jumps back over, and right as he's about to win, the German couple comes up, and then something. What happens?
Like they do the slingshot.
Oh, they
maneuver.
do the slingshot from like roller derby. Yeah.
And
they whip it.
They take out Matthew Broderick, and Danny DeVito just ends up winning because everybody else is on the ground in horrible pain, probably.
But Matthew Broderick snaps in front of the whole town and calls him pathetic or whatever, and fucking berates him in front of everybody, and is like, "You'll never amount to
Once
anything."
again, Matthew Broderick is a well-respected member of this community.
For some reason.
How's it feel to be invisible? Huh? What?
He's the biggest asshole in the world. Like, it's like if the movie was about him basically being Scrooge, it would make sense. But it's like he's being Scrooge, but everybody loves him and he loves Christmas, but he's still a giant. That doesn't make sense.
How much? Can you get it here overnight?
Find out eventually Danny DeVito sold Kristen Chenoweth's mom's urn.
Yes.
This is the stand to my vase. You pawned it, didn't you? You pawned my grandmother's vase.
Because he needed more money for lights. Because they were already in debt for $1 billion.
Okay, both these, this, like I said, a part of this feels like a Always Sunny in Philadelphia moment for all this, because these are the worst people on the planet.
They're all terrible.
This is like a whack. This is like something out of a Seinfeld episode.
Yeah. So Matthew Broderick decides to buy a bunch of fireworks.
Illegal fireworks.
Illegal fireworks that he buys black market.
I'm looking to do some serious damage.
Yeah? Cool. And you come to the right place. Because I got enough firepower back here for 2 wars.
Whenever they had this scene happening, I was like, "Oh God, is he gonna hire a hitman to kill all of Danny DeVito's lights?"
That would have been great. To kill his lights? I thought he would have killed Danny DeVito.
No, kill his lights. He's gonna go up to like the Santa and just like break it.
That would be way funnier. That's a way funnier gag than what they did in this movie. And you thought, because they could set it up like he hired a hitman and the guy could show up with a gun, but it turns out it's a BB gun and he starts shooting the lights out with it, and he's like sneaking around breaking the necks off Santa. That's a way funnier gag than what actually happens. You just wrote a better movie than they fucking wrote.
Hollywood, hire me.
Yeah, oh, that's so much better.
I got reapers, crackle dragons, wagon wheels, throbbing copperheads.
Whistling bungholes, no spleen splitters, whisker biscuits, honky lighters, hoosker do's, hoosker don'ts, cherry bombs, nipsy-daisers, with or without the scooter stick.
The fireworks.
Oh, I said maybe this movie ends with him blowing his house up and killing his entire family, because I thought that was what it was. Because the last big one falls down the fireplace and then comically whizzes around the house bouncing off things before finally blowing up their tree. Which would have burned the house down. Like, they wouldn't. He goes, "I'll get the fire extinguisher." I'm like, that's a mighty blaze you're putting out with a single fire extinguisher.
The tree's going up really quickly. Have you been watering it?
Yeah.
You sure you've been watering that thing? It went up awfully fast.
Fucking dick. He's a giant dick. But it turns out, but it actually does like burn a hole in the side of their house because the fire department shows up and there's like a giant.
But the sheriff is there and he knows about the tree that was taken.
Right.
And so he shows them the
burnt Marilyn Monroe,
and it's like, we know what you did.
Yeah,
like, but I didn't do it.
Yeah. Okay, so then this is where everybody leaves. Like both of their families have gone to a motel,
right?
Because they're like, fuck this, you guys got to act like children. We're leaving.
Which I don't blame them.
No.
We don't fit in the tiny little boxes on your Christmas calendar.
Oh, don't.
That night, Matthew Broderick is at home. They're like fixing the house or something. I don't know, because he's home alone now, and he has a Christmas movie on. And I don't even know what movie this is. I can look it up and figure out. I'm sure it's a real movie. It looks like it was. But I love this. It's one of my favorite things in this whole movie. The movie decides to let a different, presumably better movie deliver the message of their movie in their movie.
The main thing, Tootie, is that we're all going to be together, just like we've always been. That's what really counts. We could be happy anywhere as long as we're together.
Writers lesson 101. If at one point you feel you're failing to some degree, take somebody else's shit.
Pull a different, better movie, put it in your movie, and be like, what they said. It's so good. It's so stupid. I love it. Oh, I love it so much. So then he decides that he needs to go.
Could you imagine if like, and both these films are good, but could you imagine if they were doing The Matrix and there's a point where Neo's like trying to, get people to rise up against the machines or something like that, and they just show a clip from Braveheart. it's Mel Gibson giving the speech. It's like, we need to fight up and rise up against these machines, and this is why, and then it just hits play.
Every movie needs to do that. It's just pull scenes from other better not that the Braveheart's better than The Matrix, but other better movies, and just play them at relevant moments. Be like, we didn't feel like writing anything, so that just what they said. Oh my god, it's so good. That is really we start doing that. Just every movie, just slap in. Oh fuck. Okay.
I can see them like doing that, like something like that. It's like they're coming up with a big climactic moment, and it just brings up the smartphone and goes,
"Can you turn it up a little louder? I can't hear it in the back." Oh yeah, that was my favorite part of the whole thing. Though when that happened, I was losing. It was the only time I laughed in the whole movie. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
That they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
So they go, he teams up with them, and they go, and they light the entire...
And these people are on super meth to get all this done.
All of this done, in a night or whatever, in a few hours. They light the entire outside of the motel without their families noticing somehow, but then create a path of lights and like trellises and shit from the motel all the way to their house.
Danny DeVito's house.
Danny DeVito's house.
Matthew Broderick's currently has a hole in it.
A giant hole from the fire, yes. To Danny DeVito's house, where they
have a fully cooked meal from the cookbook.
Yeah, the cookbook that
this is why they're on super meth.
Yes,
because they got all that done and cooked this meal. And wait for it, Matthew Broderick, feeling bad about all this stuff that happened with Danny DeVito, called like 1,000 people.
Yeah, everybody in town
to show up with lights.
Yeah,
and when you think they're tired, the meth kicks in more because they redo this entire lighting set.
Because he took down all of his lights. They set it all back up. I was like, that would take days. Like that would take forever, but they do it in like 30 minutes. But yeah, they cook a bunch of recipes from her cookbook.
And
and she says they're her own recipes.
We made a few things from your new cookbook.
But I was like, one of them's just fried chicken. I'm like, other people have done fried chicken. What are you? God. I was so mad at this movie.
I got a friend who's a manager of a whole bunch of like. He's a manager of a whole bunch of high school students at a store, and he says this, and this is just reflective of a lot of people. When you have a whole bunch of people together, the productivity is at the same level of the lowest productive person there.
Yes.
So when you have a bunch of people working on something, what happens to the quality of work?
Oh, it would be a nightmare. Terrible. It would be terrible. To be fair, they didn't recreate the crazy awesome like sequence, or did they? Not quite the same. Like the crazy like television screen lighting rig he had on his roof. It's just really just hung a shit ton of lights all over the house. People had like chandeliers and stuff. They're showing up with chandeliers. But yeah, no, it would, like I said, with all those people there, it would be a cluster. Like nothing would get done. It would just be a nightmare. But they get all the house lit up and then they turn it on. Big moment. Because everybody's all happy. They turn it on.
They even have MTV there.
Happy holidays, everyone. Sujin Park coming to you live from Cloverdale, Massachusetts.
That's their big
Sujin
draw.
Park is there, baby!
MTV. What?
I was like, why the fuck is MTV covering this? Sujin Park was a real, legitimate journalist. Why the fuck is she there? I don't think she's dead. I just, it's like, I don't think MTV does that anymore.
I mean, it's MTV. It's like, what do they do now? Is Jersey Shore still a thing, or are they just Teen Mom?
That was the like most out of touch like old man thing I've ever heard you say.
I remember MTV when they played Beavis and Butthead in actual music videos.
Now that was the most out of touch old man thing. I do MTV back when they actually played music on MTV. But yes, I don't know what they do now. I don't watch it. So I couldn't tell you. So they kick the lights on all together and then they immediately go out. Because they've like...
No, not only do they go out,
there are sparks.
There are massive sparks everywhere.
I was like, now your house is going to burn down.
Now, for people who know electricity, what does that tell you?
Something blew. So overloaded or, something bad happened. It wasn't just, That's
usually indicative of a surge.
Some sort of something,
And there are beautiful little devices called fuses, which are suicide devices, which once that's what they're there for.
They're there to blow so that you don't,
And then once that's done, your circuit's broken.
Yeah.
It's no longer an open,
it's no longer a closed circuit.
Yeah, exactly. It's no longer a closed circuit. You now have an open circuit that's going nowhere.
Yeah. So you would have to go figure out what fuses blew or what blew and then replace them and blah, blah, blah. But that's not what happens.
No.
It just got unplugged.
Yeah. No.
No. But while the lights are out, they all get out their cell phones and they're like, wee. And then they
start singing.
And I was like waiting this whole goddamn movie. I was like, so help me God movie. Every terrible thing about this movie. But if you cast Kristen Chenoweth in your fucking movie and she doesn't sing, I will come find you and fight you. Luckily, the very end of the film, she sings like 2 lines, but...
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining.
And this is the scene where Danny DeVito's going in for the kiss and he's like, no. No.
But I was so mad. I'm like, you have Kristen fucking Chenoweth. I don't know if you're aware of this. She's famous mostly for being on Broadway. She has won Tonys. She's been nominated for like 1 billion Tonys. She was in the Charlie Brown one. She won a Tony for that. She was in the fucking Wicked.
Because I knew you. Because I knew you. Because I knew you.
But not only do they turn this on and it like creates the brightest thing possible.
So when the little fuck stain kid plugs in, I hate that. The little kid plugs the lights in.
It goes in, and not only do they see it from that command post, it literally creates a beam of light that blinds them.
It blinds them from their computer screen. Seeing the light on their computer screen hurts their eyes.
God
oh my god. Fucking A.
Yes. Yes. The house is clearly visible from space!
In my opinion.
God,
This
yeah,
movie sucks.
it's bad. It has like a 6% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it's a cheap. It's not. It's I mean, holiday or like Christmas movies, holiday movies, you tend to have a lower bar anyways. And it's just the a shitty little like.
The only thing my only favorite part, if we could just make nothing but a character study on Danny DeVito and Matthew Broderick as being complete assholes who ruin their families' lives, that would be much better.
Yeah, because you pointed out before we started recording, they're still Danny DeVito, still broke, still
massive,
so much debt. Yeah,
and both of them are facing felonies.
Yeah, both of them are going to prison for a while. Everybody in the town should hate Matthew Broderick because all he's been is an asshole to everybody this whole movie. But yeah, so like really nothing is fixed. But they had one good night where they sang Kumbaya and the lights came on, so that's cool. So yes, that's bad. That movie's not good. It is not a good film, but it's different. It actually qualifies, unlike Thanksgiving, because they didn't intentionally make it bad. They tried to make a good, fun family comedy for Christmas,
and it just falls flat.
And it's just boring and not funny and unbelievable in every way possible. Even by the standards of forgiving, like it's a comedy, it's going to be unbelievable. None of it. You can't.
Well, something happened with Matthew Broderick in the '90s where he just became dad humor.
Yeah,
and then it just from there.
Well, he had to morph his humor along with his dad bod, so he was just like also. This is coming out December 8th. It's your first of 2 Christmas episodes. I'm gonna squeeze back into this again.
I'm gonna have to come out with something more festive.
Yeah. Until then, if you want, you can check us out on Patreon. I'm making it a goal to release episodes early for patrons, at least a day or two early, so you'll get the episode. Not every time, I can't promise, because I don't always get them done in time. But if I get them done, you will get them early on Patreon, or if you're a patron, and that's all levels of patrons.
We care for you.
Yes, like the Thanksgiving killing episode, I put up Wednesday, and everybody else didn't get it till Friday. So, there's that. We also have our podcast where we go on there and talk about stuff.
I like to think that's people's reward on Friday, to a degree, is that after they survive Black Friday shopping, being trampled to death and fighting over a Samsung TV, that they get to come and watch our little show.
They get to come watch Thanksgiving and want to kill themselves afterwards. I like how everybody in the comments is like, you guys seem so sad. Like,
there's a reason for that.
It wasn't good. It really wasn't good. Also, just wanted to announce the store is ready. We're ready to do it. Our t-shirts are available to patrons only initially.
You get those in before Christmas.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't want to make that promise necessarily. Hopefully. There will be I'll have a link on our Patreon page for all of our levels of patrons.
For the record, it is a very limited run on the grounds that we didn't know how many we would.
Yeah, and what we're going to do is we're going to do through a t-shirt service or something later, so you'll be able to get some different. We'll figure it out.
Yep.
So very limited. We're also going to include a little hand signed something or another little extra gift for all of our patrons. So patrons will get first run. After that, if we still have some left, we'll open it up to everybody and then hopefully sell them all out. And then we'll get to our next line of shirts eventually down the road. But that's that. Just wanted to let you know it is happening. The t-shirts are about to be available to all of our lovely patrons.
Yay! That was our audience.
Yeah. Yay. But don't fret. Eventually, we will have more different stuff and maybe other stuff. We'll talk about it later. Also, if you want, you can check my podcast out. This Film is Lit, We talk about films that are based on books. This episode coming up, we're doing Chronicles of Narnia for Christmas, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. We also just did Shrek, and I think we have something else coming. I can't remember. We got a million of them going. Have a good, well, nope, we'll see you one more time before Christmas.
I have nothing to plug. This is the only thing in my life. I'm sad.
That's not true. You just can't tell the good people about the other things in your life. Because we don't want you stalking us. We'll see you one more time before Christmas on the 22nd. Until then, guys, keep watching movies. Just don't fucking watch Deck the Halls. It's terrible.